jury selection scheduled to begin on Monday in the case of the Dentist Mastermind Murder Trial. In moments, defendant Charlie Adelson is due back in court for a hearing in front of the judge. For more on the alleged tangled web spun by Adelson, here's Court TV legal correspondent Julia Janae with a refresher for us.
To this day, do you think he's guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that he should be prosecuted for his involvement in the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
That's Catherine McBanawa talking about her ex-boyfriend, Charles Adelson, during her murder trial for the death of Florida State law professor Dan Markel.
Do you think he should come forward and let the jury know that you had nothing to do with this?
Yes, ma'am.
It was McBanawa's second trial for Markel's death after a jury deadlocked in her first trial in 2019. The second time around, a jury rejected her claims of innocence.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Now, Florida prosecutors are setting their sights on Charlie Adelson, Markel's former brother-in-law.
What enemy or enemies had Mr. Markel made that set into motion such a brutal act? The answer, his own family.
It would take 8 years for prosecutors to bring a case against Adelson to a grand jury, despite early suspicions of his possible involvement. Markel was involved in a bitter child custody dispute with Adelson's sister, Wendi, when he was gunned down in his driveway in 2014. Wendi Adelson testified that there was ill will between her ex-husband and her brother.
He had bought me a TV when I got divorced and said it was a present and made a very bad joke and bad taste, that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But prosecutors say Adelson did hire hitmen with McBanawa's help. Sigfredo Garcia, the father of McBanawa's children, and Luis Rivera, a gang member and friend of Garcia's. Rivera pleaded guilty in exchange for testimony implicating Garcia as the gunman and McBanawa as the link to the Adelson family.
I gave him the truth, bro. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, man. I gave him the truth. Like, it was Katie and Garcia. It was all three of us was involved.
Investigators used a sprawling web of surveillance video, wiretaps, and cell tower data to connect a vehicle that was leaving the crime scene to Garcia and Rivera. Connecting McBanawa to the plot would prove more difficult because she wasn't involved, according to McBanawa's lawyers.
It wasn't through Catherine McBanawa. This wasn't something that was negotiated through Catherine McBanawa. It was about her. The communications that we have between Sigfredo Garcia and Charles Adelson in the weeks before the murder, in the days before the murder, are consistent with the fact that there was a deal between the two of them, and part of that deal was Charles Adelson breaking up with Catherine so that Sigfredo could get back the woman that he loved so much.
What's different now? Leon County prosecutors say they have a new version of secretly recorded video showing McBanawa and Adelson in a restaurant in 2016 with enhanced audio.
If a badge comes up to you, tell them have a nice day, officer. Listen, if they want to charge you with something, charge me. If not, I don't talk to cops.
Prosecutors showed the video to the jury in McBanawa's retrial and to the grand jury that indicted Charles Adelson.
The piece of evidence was something that I did think was important, and I've always felt like if we could just get that clarified, that would make a big difference potentially in the case, so I was really happy to have that piece of evidence to present to the grand jury.
Charles Adelson now faces the same charges that McBanawa was convicted of: first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation to commit murder. Adelson has pleaded not guilty and maintains his innocence.
All right, in court, just beginning in Florida. Let's go there live now. We'll see Charlie Adelson in the courtroom.
Good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and start with each party respectively. Ms. Kappelman, is the state ready to move into jury selection on Monday?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to move into jury selection on Monday?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, as far as some of what we discussed during the pretrial motion hearings on the 9th concerning the individual of Watt Dyer, do the parties wish to hear the questions the court is going to inquire of prospective jurors?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Essentially, the setup would be that we have 50 jurors that are going to be brought into the courtroom on Monday morning. I am going to qualify them directly and here, and from there, the jurors one by one are going to be brought to us as a group to go through the individual voir dire. The questions that will be asked by the court will be, what do you know about this case? What sources have you obtained this knowledge from? Based on what you know, do you have an opinion about Mr. Adelson's guilt or innocence? Can you set aside any present knowledge, disregard it, and render a verdict solely on the evidence that is presented in the courtroom? Are you capable of being fair and impartial? Do you have any reason that will prevent you from serving on this jury for potentially 3 weeks, directly addressing hardship? After the court has asked those 5 questions, attorneys for both the state and the defendant will be given an opportunity to follow up as to any answers that are provided by each juror. Are there any questions as to this aspect of the individual voir dire?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Very well. After we have obtained a pool of jurors that have been through the individual voir dire process, at that point, once we have, let's say about 60 to maybe 70, we would begin with the actual group voir dire. Now, if the attorneys believe that we're going to need more jurors to go through the individual voir dire, I'll let you address that issue now.
Well, I don't know. I'm fine with doing 50, starting with 50 and see where we get, and then bring up the next 50 if needed.
Well, and that would essentially be what we would do unless it becomes necessary to do otherwise. But 50 in the morning on Monday, 50 in the afternoon. If we still do not have a group that's suitable, we'd bring in 50 more on Tuesday, 50 more Tuesday afternoon. Does either party wish to be heard as to that aspect of it? I would anticipate that we would succeed in selecting a jury by Thursday or even possibly Friday. Once we've done that, are the parties capable of moving into openings and putting on some initial witnesses?
I was thinking Wednesday we could potentially do that, Judge, if we got a jury on Tuesday. I was going to ask Your Honor if we could all agree that we wouldn't start any sooner than Wednesday. So that's up to you, but I've made preparations to begin on Wednesday, assuming we get a jury in 2 days.
Mr. Rauschbaum?
Whenever we get a jury, we can start, as far as we're concerned. I'm not as confident that we'll have one on Wednesday, but...
Well...
Just not before Wednesday is my concern. We won't have witnesses before Wednesday unless you tell me that needs to happen.
Very well, then. At the very least, what we can do is by the time we have our 14 jurors would be to at least go through the openings. So if that means we're doing it on Wednesday, just openings, and then moving into the witnesses on Thursday, that would be the schedule. For each day of trial, the jurors are going to be instructed to report by 8:45. Testimony would begin by 9 a.m., and we would anticipate stopping each day somewhere around 5:30. Do the parties wish to be heard concerning that?
My only request on that, Judge, is if we could aim for between 5 and 5:15 on Wednesdays. Doesn't have to be, we can see where we are, but if the schedule, if we're on track and it's looking good, I would ask to break a little early on Wednesday since I do have another obligation, if possible, I'd like to make.
Very well. This will be done, of course, not to break anyone's flow of examination. Also, I don't want to have any cliffhangers in anyone's mind. If you finish a direct, Mr. Rauschbaum, Ms. Myers will be permitted to cross that witness on the same day. All right. I believe already court administration has provided or set aside a separate room for the alleged victim's family. Mr. Rauschbaum, I know the members of the defendant's family are currently on the witness list, but are you asking for any accommodation as far as having a place for them to watch the trial in person as well once they've finished with any testimony?
Not at this point, Your Honor.
All right. Does everyone have the phone numbers for technology support?
Yes, sir.
No, Your Honor.
So I will give that to you now. It's 850-606-4444. Concerning the courtroom, I will just remind everyone, not only are we being recorded through the normal means as far as court reporting, but obviously there's going to be media and other cameras, to be mindful of that when you're speaking with your support staff, and also any conversations, Mr. Rauschbaum, that you will need to have with your client in court. Also, the attorneys are going to need to be mindful as well on any break when you're in the hallway to not only avoid the prospective jurors, but once we actually have jurors, if they are randomly walking through the hallway, you cannot engage with them. Obviously, experienced members of the bar, you all understand this obligation, but I'm just putting it on the record so it's crystal clear, and we have no issues to be raised with this later. Also, if you're speaking in the hallway just with your support staff, co-counsel, or other individuals who you may need to address, again, please be mindful of who is around you as well.